Well, hundreds of tractors have taken to the streets of London to protest against the UK government's inheritance tax, which organisers have described as toxic.
Downing Street, if you can hear us, you need to fix this.
8,400 farmers surged into London. 1,120 tractors smashed through police containment in just 17 minutes. No warnings, no negotiations, only the roar of steel engines echoing through 14 major arteries, triggering gridlock across hundreds of central roads stretching toward the political heart of the United Kingdom. This was not a march. This was the largest rural mobilisation Britain has seen in generations, and it all erupted because of one thing: an inheritance tax plan that could force thousands of family farms to sell their land just to survive. Today, farmers did not come to ask, they came to defend their right to keep feeding this country. Today's confrontation did not begin on the streets, it began with a single policy decision: a 20% inheritance tax on farms valued between £1 and £3 million. Set to take effect in April 2026.
Because I want to support our farmers.
For Westminster, it was merely a tax adjustment. For farmers, it was the line between survival and collapse. £1 million farm does not create £1 million life. It only generates enough to survive one more season. The core conflict emerged from how both sides interpreted the same number. The government argued the £1 to £3 million threshold targeted only the wealthy, but in reality, most family farms exceed that valuation while their annual profits remain far below operating costs. From this point, the disconnect was no longer a matter of opinion. It became a question of whether the policy itself was grounded in reality. Westminster cited around 500 farms affected per year. Industry assessments indicated a far broader impact, especially in regions facing rising input costs and declining yields. That data gap produced a single response: doubt. Farmers could no longer determine what was being calculated accurately and what was being downplayed to soften public reaction. Pressure mounted at the worst moment of the year: heating barns, storing feed, fuel, transport and energy all enter their annual cost spike. Each increase narrows the margin of survival, while the new tax provides no clear guidance on its real financial burden. For many families, the debate has moved beyond policy. It has become a question of who can withstand the coming season and who will be forced to surrender their land. And winter is coming. 712 cameras on the outskirts detect an unusual surge of tractors. At first, it looks like heavy traffic, but within minutes, the flow tightens into a circle around London. 716 Traffic Control confirms thousands of agricultural vehicles are moving toward the capital, not scattered, not drifting, all heading straight into the city. 721. The first three convoys cross the city boundary. Each convoy stretches hundreds of metres, forming a moving wall of steel. No gaps, no breaks in formation. 728, unusual reports begin appearing. Not once, not in one location, multiple checkpoints report vehicles resembling light tanks from military motor clubs. They are here to stand with the farmers. Police give no confirmation, but no denial either. Silence only fuels public anxiety. 734 roads leading into London begin to freeze in place. Traffic lights can no longer manage the weight of the incoming vehicles. Emergency routes slow to a crawl with no clear path left. 741. Three main corridors feeding Westminster are pressed tight. Not normal congestion, but solid compression with no room to clear a lane. 747. The first convoy reaches the government district. No horns, no chants. Only the low, heavy pulse of engines, steady and unavoidable. An internal police report states pressure is rising faster than the city can respond. London is no longer congested. London is shrinking under the weight of thousands of machines, minute by minute. Late morning, tension escalates as police attempts to clear a lane fail. A patrol car is pushed backward nearly 20 metres under the force of the advancing convoy. No deliberate collision, but the weight of the machinery forces command units to pull their teams away. On the northwest side, cameras capture a moment that spreads rapidly online. A restored armoured vehicle moves slowly but decisively between two rows of tractors. No banners, no slogans, just a silent message supporting the farmers. The footage triggers a surge of public support along the roadside and makes the atmosphere far harder to predict. Midday, two major corridors leading into Whitehall lock from both ends. No official blockade is announced, but the traffic itself forms one. No entry, no exit. Emergency units can no longer reach the hotspots. The command system issues a new risk notice. Priority routes for emergency response cannot be established. This is no longer congestion, it is a mechanical event beyond the city's operational capacity. Evening pressure pushes closer to the government quarter. Multiple police units request withdrawal after reporting they can no longer maintain safe positions. A key route near Parliament Street collapses under the load. Every lane stalls while additional convoys continue pressing from behind. A short internal memo to Westminster concludes, government access is being locked by machinery, not by protest. London has moved past gridlock. The city is now under mechanical encirclement, unlike anything seen in decades. Inside Westminster, paralysis spreads through the coordination system. Security, transport and internal affairs cannot synchronise their maps because field data shifts too quickly. Several corridors lose visibility as incoming reports overwhelm the network. Some meeting rooms shift into low movement mode. Ministers are advised not to relocate due to the risk of becoming trapped if the blockade tightens. Decision-making slows sharply. Orders sent to frontline units take more than 20 minutes to arrive, rendering them ineffective. Multiple ministers are told to stay in place. For security officials, this means only one thing. There is no safe route for any member of government. Police find themselves outmanoeuvred by geography. No unit can advance or retreat at operational speed. An emergency memo reaches the command centre. We no longer control the space. From this point, orders function only on paper. In decades, state authority has never been constrained simply by its inability to move. At the square, farmer groups deliver a unified message. The blockade will remain until the inheritance tax plan is fully withdrawn. No amendments, no delays, no alternative proposals. They emphasise that this is not a request for subsidies. It is a demand that Westminster stop treating land succession as a budget balancing tool. Organisers have built an independent communication system using radios, coordinators and direct links between tractor columns. This allows the movement to remain orderly without relying on a single spokesperson. The ultimatum is not aimed only at the tax, it is aimed at trust, which they say was broken when rural concerns were dismissed. One representative states, no sector survives when it is ignored. If the tax stays, so do we. No chance, no calls for confrontation, yet the determination is unmistakable. The government must yield first. For those sitting atop thousands of tons of machinery outside Westminster, this is no longer a policy dispute. It is a test of whether the capital understands the threshold of rural England. The impact spreads beyond London faster than expected. Transport routes across the country are forced to redirect. Food processing facilities warn they may shut down if supply cannot be restored. In rural areas, many see the blockade as a turning point. Their voice now has enough weight to disrupt the political centre. Experts warn that if the blockade persists, key industries, including retail, cold chain transport and fresh food distribution, face systemic disruption. The deepest effect is psychological. The crisis challenges three pillars of public trust. Trust that the government can maintain control, trust that major policies are grounded in reality, trust that rural and urban Britain still belong to the same nation. A difficult question emerges: what happens to a country when the people who feed it no longer trust the way it is governed? This confrontation is far from over, and as long as the tractor lines remain, so does the sense that the United Kingdom is standing at the edge of a deeper fracture. If you want to follow this crisis as it unfolds, subscribe to UK Reality News. We will bring you updates on every shift behind the closed doors of Westminster.